All right, welcome everybody. Today is day 8, I believe. Um, cool. So let's go ahead and start with the question of the day. Yeah, today's day 8. So today's question of the day is if money wasn't an issue, like it wasn't a factor, what would you be doing right now? Um, and I'll start out. I think, to be honest, and this is the same answer I gave last time I asked this question. To be honest, I really enjoy what I'm doing actually. I enjoy being able to teach and work with, new engineers and also being able to kind of build software for people and for clients or businesses and stuff. And so I think if money wasn't an issue, to be honest, I'd probably be doing the exact same thing. However, the one thing that I would be doing different is I would have a bigger team. Right now, it's kind of like me, my girlfriend helps me out with some of the social media stuff, and then like Lana is like the TA and she's also helping me out with some other stuff. And then I have like one other person who technically is helping out my mom, but she also has been helping me out too because my mom's I use her office and stuff like that sometimes. But yeah, so to be honest, I think if money wasn't an issue, I'd be doing the exact same thing. I'd just have like another dedicated software engineer. I'd have potentially some like the business side of handling all this stuff. I'd have someone handle that, etc. I think to me that's kind of what I would do differently if money wasn't an issue or money wasn't a factor. Yeah, so that's me. Ron, you're the first one on my screen. Please feel free to take it away.
For me, to be honest, if money wasn't a factor, I'd be um just spending more time with family, like taking the kids to the beach, just like help them grow. It took me about 3 weeks to teach my son how to ride a bike because I only do it on my days off. So, you invest more time with the family, definitely. And then I'll pass it on to Junior.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. I like your answer, man. I think I'm in line with that too. If money wasn't an issue, I'd probably spend a lot more time with the family. Um, I think also like for me, my kids are into a lot of sports and whatnot, and so a lot of the sports they have their nonprofit businesses or whatever they're set up, and so I don't know, probably look into something like that for me as well, just to kind of help them engage with their interests. Um, yeah, yeah. And let's see, Adrian, Adrian.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of eating, but um, man, that's a hard question. Well, actually, it's an easy question. I'd be traveling right now. But but yeah, the whole premise of me being here is to find a job that's remote. So that way I don't have to worry too much about the money and I can just travel. And I can worry about the other stuff later. But man, if money wasn't an issue besides traveling, I would have moved in with my other half like years ago. Because let's be real, guys. Guam rent is super expensive. So yeah. Um. Anyway, Kiko.
Sorry, guys, my camera's bogged out. I don't know what's wrong with it. I did as much as I could to fix it, and I think I have to buy a webcam. But like Adrian said, I think I'd be traveling, filling up passport pages. I have done it in the past. I used to play soccer when I was young for Guam national team, and I filled up an entire passport with just straight up trips going to play in different parts of Asia. And one of my goals, like before I have kids and everything, is to redo it when I'm my age now because I did it everything. I traveled most places, like most major cities in Asia before I was 18, and we couldn't do much. So I think if money wasn't an issue and I had the freedom, I think I'd be revisiting all those places again for sure.
Lana, Lana, feel free to answer.
Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, if money wasn't a factor or wasn't an issue, what would you be doing right now?
You know what? Elijah and I just watched this really good like cooking movie. And I feel like that would be cool, like if we could like start up a restaurant and just like cook whatever we want. That'd be really cool. Yeah.
Super cool. Thank you all. I feel like I agree with pretty much what everyone said. I think that's probably something that I would probably do as well. I'd love to do, spend more time with family, travel, cook, etc. I think those are all really super great answers. So thank you all for sharing. Okay, so let me go and share my screen and we will do hotkey of the day. Oh snap, I haven't shared my screen on this one in a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm on my uh stuff on the bottom or my other monitor. Sorry, I need to fix this. Where's the bottom of it? Shucks. Sorry, let me fix this. So when I share my screen, I'm always sharing like a portion of the screen because I both monitors that I use between this one and the one upstairs that I'm usually at, they're both like ultra wide monitors or whatever. Like the one above I think is 38, 42 or something like that. And then this one that I'm on right here is like 48 or something like that. I like it because I everything can fit all on one screen. So for example, right here in the middle of the screen, obviously I have VS Code. Over here, I have the terminal, and then right here on the left side, I have like a browser. So it'd have like my lesson plan, or maybe it'd have the website that I'm working on, or the application, or whatever. So I like having kind of ultra wide screens for that reason. But ultimately, a lot of times I'll find myself on the couch just working on my computer by itself. And so having extra screens aren't a necessity, but I think it's a nice to have that I invested in a while ago. Actually, bought both of them a while, like maybe like 3 years ago or something like that. And so I enjoy using them. Um, but yeah, sorry. So I had to just fix because technically I'm sharing like 2/3 of my screen rather than sharing the whole thing. So that's why like if you guys for you guys it was like getting resized a lot. But anyway, okay. So hotkey of the day today. So I don't think I've explicitly said or shared this one yet. Actually, let me verify. That's would be a good thing to check first. Let's go hotkeys. Have I done this one? Okay, cool. I haven't. Perfect. So hotkey of the day, it's something that I've shared with everybody here already, but it's basically like whatever you highlight, it's control for Windows, or command for Mac. So you're going to highlight whatever it is you want, and then you do command or control, and then right or square, or I mean right or left square brackets. So if I go right, it brings it right. Basically tabs everything one to the right, and if I do left, it tabs it to the left. And so this is something that I use all the time, especially if, for example, let's say for whatever reason, all my code looks like this. And so to fix it real quick, I know that like kind of the beginning of the each loop's right here, the ending of it's right here. So that means everything inside of it has to go at least one to the right. So I'm going to highlight it all, command right. And then from there, now I know I have an each loop in here. So that means that we can see it's even like little what's it called? Because of Rubocop, it's saying, hey, use two indentations, not zero. So it's kind of even helping me out too. But basically anything within this each loop has to go one more to the right. So I'm going to go command. I don't even need to highlight it. As long as my cursor's on the line, I can just go command and then right square brackets. Perfect. And so now this is indented the way I want to. Cool. So that's hotkey of the day. Command or control, and then it's open or close square brackets or right or left square brackets, however you want to kind of think of that. Cool. So let me share that. All right, cool. Okay, so that is hotkey of the day. So the next thing we'll do is we'll do a quick review of hashes, and we'll also do a quick review of specifically looping through hashes before we kind of go back into doing these nested arrays and hashes and stuff like that. Okay, so let me go ahead and do this, set this up. Okay, I'm gonna comment this out. Just gonna comment all this out. Actually, every day I create a new one. Let's go practice 3.rb. Okay, so quick review of hashes. So as we kind of went through yesterday, a hash is another data structure. And basically the way we can think of hashes is it's a key value pair. It comes with key value pairs, basically. So for example, the one we kept using yesterday, so we're going to go person equals, and then I'm going to do curly brackets, and then I can click enter, or I don't have to. If I click enter and put them all like on a separate line, it's just for readability purposes, but ultimately it's the same exact thing. So for example, person, and then I'm going to give it the key of name, the value of Leon. From there, I'm going to put a comma right after that key value pair, and I'm going to click enter. And then let's go age, colon, and then from there, I'm going to do like 26, comma, and then let's go like village, colon, and then from there, I can say like Barragata Heights. Perfect. And so this is a hash. It's a bunch of key value pairs. And really the benefit to using a hash is that as long as we know the key, we can grab the value. It does not matter what order this is in. As long as we have the key, we can get the value. It's not like an array where we have to know exactly what index that specific value is in, or we'll have to loop through the entire thing to find it. Okay, so just to show you guys, I can go print out person. If I do Ruby practice 3, cool, we see there's a person. This is basically what happens when we print out person, which is just the hash. If I wanted to grab the name, I can do square brackets, and then what the key is, which it's colon name, do that. We see Leon, etc. If I wanted to change it, I could do person name equals Alana, for example, and then we go ahead and print out person before the person and print it out after. Perfect. We see the first time through it's Leon, the second time through it's Alana, etc. If I wanted to add a new thing, add a new key value pair, I could do like person, square brackets, and let's say island equals Guam. And so if I run this, we can see before it, we don't have an island, after it, we do. Perfect. Just quick review. And then finally, if I wanted to loop through it, I'm going to use my favorite loop, which is an each loop. And so I can do person.each do, and then I'm going to do the pipes. And then in here, I'm going to use key value. I could use anything I want here, but you just have to keep in mind that the first thing is always going to be the key. The second thing is always going to be the value when dealing with hashes specifically. And then from there, I'm going to do my end, and then let's go ahead and do like P. And then just to print it out nicely, I can do quotes. We're just going to say key colon key, and then we can say, or yeah, we can do that. And then we'll do the same thing for value, 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 oh, value. And then I'm just going to put a bunch of lines to make it print nice. Okay, cool. If I run this, we see we have the key of, what's it called? The keys name, the values Leon, keys age, values 26, keys village, values Barragata Heights, etc. Does anybody have any questions on any of these ideas with hashes so far? Okay, cool. So we're going to kind of continue with where we left off yesterday with regards to the exercises. And I want to give you guys a little bit of time to basically, we'll disregard this one for now, the bonus, but I want to give you guys a little bit of time to do this exercise real quick. So basically, I want you guys to write a program that iterates over your person hash from yesterday and prints out each key and value nicely formatted. And I give you guys an example of exactly how you could do that there. And yeah, so that's we'll give you guys, I'm just gonna give you guys a couple minutes to try that out, or like maybe like three minutes or so. All right, cool. So I'm gonna stop sharing and you guys are good to share your screen and try that out real quick.
Hey, Leon.
Yes,
Just FYI, I think Datadog is having a power outage right now.
I got you. Are
So is
you?
the Ganya Heights.
Oh, real? Okay.
Oh, dang. Adrian, you're indebted up?
Yeah,
Got you. If it cuts out for you, don't even worry. Just join up when you.
okay.
And same for you, Kiko. If you guys get cut out, just feel free just join up when you guys are when you guys can.
Yeah, I'm using my hotspot right now. And my battery's okay, so I can. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the heads up. And if you need to, just yeah, shoot me a WhatsApp message, or if you end up leaving, I'll know.
Okay.
Oh dang, I think Tamuning's out of power too right now. Lana's in Tamuning and her power just went out. Wow.
Yeah, not sure if this was scheduled, but I didn't check.
Yeah. That's like three different people.
Dang, load shedding again.
For real. And all at the same time. That's tough.
Hey, Leon, could I ask for some help on
Yeah.
this thing that I'm doing?
I just
Um,
good.
and so I did this
Hmm.
part over here, and I guess it's working, but I tried the other one from yesterday, and it works, but I don't think I, it's working, but I don't think I know why it's working or why it's wrong because it doesn't look right. So
Yeah.
I did this. This is the one.
Yep. The nested array, but ne the nested array and hash, basically.
Yeah. So like when I run this, it comes out correct.
Okay.
I know this part is wrong here. And I don't know why I can't figure out why like I know I probably put extra stuff here because I'm thinking it's name, age, and city. So I'm putting key, value, value. But I'm thinking about this incorrectly. It's supposed to be this key, and this key, right?
Correct.
But it I guess it works.
So here, why don't we do this? I think I know what's happening. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 90% sure. So let's go ahead and comment out 152. Go ahead and comment that out. And let's create like two or three lines below it. And so basically what I want us to do is I want us to print out, I want you to do like P key, P value one, and P value two. So basically, I want to see what each of those values are. And I want to
Let's
use
see.
P because I know that if we use P, like if there's nothing, it's going to say nil. If there's
Okay.
something, it'll say. And so I know P gives us like the raw value. So that's why I want to use P. So go ahead and try this out. So run this and let's see what happens. Because I think I know what's happening. Perfect. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
exactly what's happening. So you have value two there, and it's not erroring out, but technically it's not doing anything.
It's nothing, right? Because it's just the key and the value. I
Correct.
guess I'm not supposed to be thinking it like one, two, three. It's one, two, one, two, one, two, right?
Yeah, in a sense. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And so
Okay.
the reason your stuff isn't airing out is because technically it doesn't break if you put nil there. Like you can print out nil there and that's completely fine. Where it would break is if you were going to do some like let's say ma like math or some calculations or whatever based on whatever you assumed value two is, that's where it's going
Mhm.
to break because if you're going to try to like add or multiply something with nil, it's not going to come out the way that you're expecting or it might error out. And so yeah, so that's the reason why it's not breaking, or that's the reason it's not like breaking anything here. It's because you're just printing it out. You're not like doing anything with that value.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That makes sense. Thanks, man.
Yeah, of course. Great question. Let me give you guys a couple more minutes on this before we move on.
Hey Leon, can you repost on the exercises what we have to do?
Yeah. Yeah. It is here. I'm gonna forward it back into exercises. So what's this one right here? So I just re-forwarded it. So it's write a program that iterates over your person hash and prints out each value nicely formatted. And here, if you would like, if because I see you're working on a different file, so instead of you looking for your person hash, feel free to use this one. I just shared it. You can use mine or and like update that accordingly. Perfect, Kiko. Yeah, you can just use that. So just basically you're just going to create an each loop to print this out.
Power just came back on for League One.
Perfect. Hey, Pico, you're super close. Actually, could you join this breakout room real quick? I just sent an invite. Solid, okay. Okay. Let's see. All right, you guys are good to stop sharing your screen. We're gonna quickly touch on more nested data real quick, a quick review of it. And then after that, we're gonna build another kind of command line interface. By the ending of today, that's the goal, is we're gonna build another one of those. Either ending of today, start of tomorrow, one or the other. Hopefully towards the end of today. Share my screen. Okay. So comment this out. Comment this out. All right. So let's do this. So we're gonna do more practice with nested data. So for example, this is a nested array where we have an outer array with inner arrays inside of it. And so we're gonna do a little bit more practice with it. And so nested arrays, they're relatively common. You'll see them a decent amount, and it's basically, again, it's an array that contains another array. Same thing as like a nested condition, where it's a condition that contains another condition, etc., things like that. And so these nested arrays are useful for representing like let's say multi-dimensional data structures like grids or tables or matrices and stuff like that. And so here's an example where we have a grid, and so we have an outer array and we have inner arrays, which are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. Can you guys help me to print out 5, for example? So anybody here? What do you guys think? We briefly touched on something like this yesterday.
Would it be grid? What was it brackets?
Square brackets or curly brackets?
Just square.
Perfect.
0 or 1,
1.
and then another square brackets. Is that 1?
Perfect. Okay.
I don't know.
Does that look solid to you? Ron? This looks
I
good?
think so.
All right, cool. No, not a trick question. I'm just genuinely asking. All right, cool. Let's try it out. Okay, so we're not getting anything here. It looks right, but what are we missing? What do I need?
We're missing the puts.
That
Puts grid.
perfect, perfect,
Oh yeah, that's right.
perfect. We got 5. Thank you both. All right, cool. So on that, let's do one more. How could I print out 7? What if I wanted 7?
Same thing with puts grid, and then the two numbers are going to be 2 and 0.
Perfect. Cool. We got 7. And so you guys are pretty, I'd say you guys are pretty comfortable with kind of dealing with nested data. Is that fair to say? You guys feel pretty okay with it? Cool. So, let's do this. Let's do this. How, real quick, before I give you guys an exercise for this, how could I maybe, I want to reassign 6 to be 10, for example. How could I reassign that? And so I'm even going to print out, I'm going to do P grid before it. I'm going to do P grid after it. So what can I do in here to reassign 6 to be 10 as a quick like review?
Um, to reassign it, you put for 6,
Yes.
grid,
Mm-hmm.
uh brackets 1,
Yep.
and then brackets 2 equal to 10.
All right, cool. Let's try it out. Perfect. We got it right there. We see the 10. Perfect. Exactly like what I'm expecting. And so based on kind of everything that we've done right here, I don't think we need any more practice on this. I feel like you guys feel pretty confident at it. I'm going to give you guys an exercise to deal with some nested data. And so here, I'll give you guys this. So yeah, let's do this. Exercises. I'll give you guys the board. So there's the board. All right, cool. So you guys' exercise, I want you guys to create a nested array representing a tic-tac-toe board, and you're going to access specific cells in order to, for example, get X, X, X. Basically, you want to solve, you want to win in a sense. And so I want you guys to set up some positions with X and O, so that way you can satisfy getting 3 in a row, basically. And so whatever the 3 in a row that is that you want, it's completely up to you. I want to leave that up to you guys. But basically, I want you guys to figure out how can I get, for example, X here, X here, X here, or O here, O here, O here. Basically, I want you guys to choose whether or not X or O and fill it out accordingly. Cool. You guys are good to share your screen and try that out.
Shoot, sorry, I don't know what I pressed for my Zoom. I'm just gonna lock out and then back in again.
Okay. And I'll say it again when Ron gets here, but I added a bonus as well. And the bonus is to figure out how to print them nicely like an actual tic-tac-toe game. And so you can see the screenshot where that's kind of like what it would look like theoretically. Cool. And then I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check Lana and Kiko real quick. All right. Does anyone want to share the solution that they have? Volunteers.
Yeah, I can show mine. It's just brute force.
All right. Cool. Go, you're the only one sharing your screen now. Go ahead, you can walk us through it.
Okay, so here's the board. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 slots. So I just set this as the 00, 01, 02, 10, 11, 12, and then 20, 21, 22. I just went and assigned each one of them those values, and then I ported a P board the 0 row, P board the 1 row, and then the 2 row. I tried to do some other things, but it wasn't working. And then when I run it, it comes out like this.
Solid. Super cool. Thank you. Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. All right, cool. You guys are good to you're good to stop sharing your screen, and I'm gonna share a couple more ways that we could kind of do that as well. All right. All right. So I did pretty much the exact same thing. Kind of like I feel like the simplest way to that we could do it, like off the top of my head, I can't think of another simpler or a different another way. But we could do this. So if I run this, I see we got the X in 3 lines in a row. Another way we could do it is there's this function called join. And so we can join the, what's it called? We can join the arrays with kind of like a dash in between it with this pipe. And so that's one way. If I run this now, we can see it basically joins the indexes, putting basically a dash in between in a sense. And so this is another way that we can kind of do it. There's probably like a handful of different ways you could do it, but here's 2 different ways we could kind of do this same thing. So super cool. I'd recommend, as you guys have time, mess around with the different methods that you guys can do on arrays and hashes and strings and stuff like that. There's so many out there. I'm not saying you guys, I know very, very few, and there's few that I'll use kind of consistently. But as you guys kind of get used to it, you guys will see that like there's different things that you guys can do with them. It's really cool. Okay, cool. Let me share this solution. Exercises, solution. Go ahead and comment all this out. All right, cool. Actually, I want to use this grid again. Let me just move it to the bottom. All right, cool. Okay. So the next thing I want to go through is actually I kind of want to just give you guys a challenge and figuring out because we kind of did it yesterday a little bit, but how could I use, let's say, an each loop to print out each number on a different line? And so do you guys feel comfortable that you guys want to walk through an example first, or do you guys want to take the challenge of doing a nested each loop or a nested while loop or something like that? Okay, I'm gonna give you guys I'm gonna give you guys the exercise of trying it out. So basically, I'm gonna show you guys this grid. Use nested each loops or while loops, up to you, to loop through the nested grid array and print out each integer on a different line, on its own line. And there is I mean, this is, yeah, there's kind of a solution above. It's a little bit, you'll have to change it a little bit. But yeah. So basically, you're gonna use a nested each loop. And I will give you guys a little bit of time to mess with it. After maybe like 5 minutes or so, I will walk through the solution together. So this is more of a challenge exercise. I haven't explicitly showed you guys it today. So just I want you guys to try it out so you guys can figure out and kind of go from there. All right, cool. You guys are good to share your screen and try that out. And then after this, we'll take a break. All right, you guys are good to stop sharing your screen. And actually, Junior, you're really close to the solution for that one. I like that. You're trying the while loop. All right, cool. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to walk through this together. Share. Okay, so let's see. Here is the exercise. Let me grab this. Why is everything indented? There you go. All right, so use a nested each loop or while loop to loop through the nested grid arrays and print out each integer on its own line. So to do this, the first thing I'm going to do is it says to create an each loop. So I'm going to do grid.eachDo, and I'm going to say row. I don't know. So each one of these is technically a row. These are columns, and so I'm going to say row. And so I'm going to go p row. So whenever I'm dealing with data that I don't know how to deal with, or like I don't even know what it looks like maybe, or anything like that, I'm just going to print it out. I don't know what it looks like. Let's just print it out. Try this out. Cool. So we can see that each row is going to be pretty much it's going to be an array. It's these inner arrays. Now that I know that, I'm like, okay, cool. So I can pretty much do this exact same thing just one more time because I want to loop through each one of these. And so I'm going to comment that out and I'm going to go row.eachDo and I'm going to say num, for example, because each one of them is a number. I'm going to make sure I put my end so that way I don't forget it. Shift Command Enter. And now I can go p num to print out what each value in each of these inner arrays are. Run this. Perfect. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Exactly like what we're expecting. Any questions on this idea of using nested each loops? Cool. Let me know if you guys have any questions. And then I saw I did see you guys some of you guys trying to do the nested while loops. And so we can quickly touch on that. So if I was to do this with a while loop, it's going to get a little bit more messy because we have to keep track of the indexes and stuff like that. But we can do that as well. So I'm going to start with I equals 0. Because if we remember, whenever we're doing a while loop, we need to like keep track of how many times we're looping through. And so I'm going to use I for that. And so I'm going to say while I is less than grid.length. I'm going to do my end. As soon as I get in here, I'm going to go I plus equal 1. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to be p grid at I. And I'm doing p grid at I because I is 0. So the first time through the loop, this is index 0. So this is grid at 0. It should print out 1, 2, 3. The next time through the loop, we're going to increment I by 1. So I is now 1. So it's going to be p grid at 1. So that should be 4, 5, 6. It's going to increment it again. Next time through the loop, I is going to be 2. And so it's going to be grid at 2. So it should be 7, 8, 9. And then increment it again. And I is going to be 3. Then when I is 3, this condition fails or is false because 3 is longer than the grid.length. Or technically it's equal to grid.length. And so this condition fails. So it's not going to do anything after that. Let's go and try this out. Perfect. So I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so now, same idea here. I knew that once I got to this level, I knew that I can just do the exact same thing again. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to comment this out because I don't need to print out each one of the grids again at that level. And so I'm going to use a different variable. I used I here. After I, I'm going to use J. So I could use whatever it is I want, but I'm going to use J. So I'm going to say J equals 0. And I'm going to say while J is less than grid at I dot length. And then from there, I'm going to do my end. And then within here, J plus equal 1. Because this is kind of the structure for most while loops. I need to keep track of an index to know how many times I'm going through the loop. I'm going to loop, for example, specifically for arrays, I'm going to loop while a specific condition is true. And so basically, I want to loop basically the length of this inner array. So that's why I use grid at I, because I know the inner array is going to be this. So grid at I is going to be this, and then it's going to be this, and then it's going to be this. And so I want to loop the length of this inner array. That's why I put it grid at I. And then from there, after that, I need to do j plus equal 1 because we need to basically increment that. And then finally, I can do p grid. It's going to be at I at j. And it's going to be at I at j because first we go through the first loop, the first array, technically. And then after that, then we go into what specific index it is we want in the inner array. The reason we do that is the same reason if I wanted to print out 1, for example, I would do p grid at 0 at 0. I have to do 2 levels right there. And so with the exact same reason I do that is the exact same reason I would do this. So now if I run this, perfect. I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Exactly like what we're expecting. Junior, you were really close. I saw yours. I saw that you put j equals 0 out here, and that's why you had to do j equals 0 here. You had to reassign it. And so the reason why that I put it inside is so that way I don't have to reassign it. Because I put it here, every single time that it restarts this outer loop, it's going to reassign it. It's going to reset it to 0. And then it's starting from scratch again. Versus putting it out here, where every single time it's like you have to manually reset it another way. That was one of the things I saw. And then the other thing I saw is the length. Yeah. Questions, comments about either of these loops, the each loop or the while loop. Cool. All right, let me share this solution. All right, cool. And let's go ahead and take a 10-minute break. 7:16, we'll come back at 7:26, and we will continue. Welcome back, everybody. Alrighty. So now that we've went through nested arrays briefly, now we're going to touch on a nested hash or nested hashes, basically. So for example, let's do this. And so nested hashes are kind of ideal for representing data, structured data specifically. Like if we want to be really specific with some stuff, that's where kind of hashes come into play. And I'll give you guys more reasons where you would use hashes versus array. Like we'll do a comparison after this. But first, let's go through nested hashes. So for example, I'm going to bring up this person hash again. So we have this person hash. Let's go name. I'm going to go Leon, comma, age, 26, comma. And then here I'm going to go contact, colon. And if you guys remember, we could have any data type in here. I could have an array. I could have an integer. I could have a Boolean. I could obviously have a string. And then of course we could also even use variables. Let's say I had like contact number equals 123, whatever. I can put contact number here. So pretty much any valid data type or value we can put in here. With that being said, another thing we can do is we can nest another hash in here. And so that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to click enter, and I'm going to do this for readability purposes. And so I'm going to do, for example, let's say contact email equals leon@test.com. And then I'm going to go comma, contact phone equals, and let's go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever. And so let's go ahead and start with just this. So let's go ahead and start, and I'm going to go ahead and delete this. We don't need this contact number anymore. Let's see. And so this is going to be a little bit of discovery here, where I'm going to ask you guys to help me out with this. And we haven't explicitly went through it, but given the context of what we've done already, I want you guys to see if you guys can figure out how to do certain things here. So let's just start out with, can someone help me print out Leon? I want to print out Leon. Anybody? What are we thinking? I'm going to choose somebody in a second. Let's go with Ron. You're the first one on my screen. If you don't mind helping me out, man. How can I print out Leon?
Would it be P person square brackets Colin Leon?
Exa
Or sorry, Colin name?
Let's try it out. Perfect. We got it. Exactly what I was looking for. Great work, Ron. Thank you. So with that being said, now the next thing I want someone to help me with is how can I print out my email? I want to print out this email. Who can help me out with this? And again, I'll choose someone random if no one speaks up in a second.
I'll do it.
Yep, we got.
P person, bracket contact,
Is it?
or sorry, email you said, right?
Yeah, I want the email.
But it's in, oh, sorry. but it's in the contact array, right?
It's the contact hash.
Hash, sorry. So be contact and then or are you doing just email?
I do just want to print this. I want to print out this value right here.
But it's inside the curly bracket.
Correct.
So
It is in here. So technically the way
okay.
we can think of this is the key,
Oh, sorry.
this is the value.
Oh, so it'll be next to contact, put the curly bracket and put key.
You said
Or
curly bracket.
sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, what do I write?
Yeah. Key value, but it's on it's on the first line. So damn, how do I write this? Hold on, let me break out paper.
No worries.
Um, P person contact curly. No, the curly brackets is inside the yeah, it's
In
next
here?
to contact. Yeah. And
So
then it would be so inside contact, that'll be key and that'll be value. So put value. Try printing that, please.
okay. I think I get where you're going with this. But so let's just go ahead and do this first. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change contact to the symbol, which by putting the colon there. So now this contact is referencing this one right here. So let's just go ahead and print this out. Cool. We see there's the email. There's the email, there's the phone. We see it's a hash. So when we do this, we get a hash of this value. So now with that being said, what do you think, Kiko? How could I get this? I want to get just Leon at test.com. And we do not put curly brackets in here. What do you think? All right. Anyone have any ideas? And open the floor.
Sorry, I was muted and I was talking.
Okay.
Can you change it to call in email?
Change. You said change contact to be
The email.
okay. So like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it out. So that gets us.
No. Okay. Oh, email value. Sorry.
What do you mean?
Email curly bracket value on the outside, I guess. Because it's the value of the see, email is the key, right? And then the email, then your actual email would be the value.
So I get where you're going. I definitely get where you're going with it. So the way that I want you to think about this is first, we need to go through. So this is a nested hash. We know it's a nested hash because we have this outer hash right here
Mhm.
with a bunch of regular key value pairs, key value, key, and then now we have this nested hash because it's a hash within a hash. And so the way that I want you to think about it is we first need to grab this key to be able to grab the values here. So that's why we do person colon contact, person at contact. And so when we do that, we get that hash that we want. And so then after we're at this level, now it's like, okay, cool. Now I want to go into this contact. I want to use this and basically grab this key to give us this value. So with that being said, so then we're going to go in another level and I'm going to do square brackets. It's always going to be square brackets, regardless of if it's a hash or an array. It's always square brackets when we're getting the data. And then from there, I'm going to give it the key. I'm going to give it the key of email, colon, email. I'm gonna run this. Perfect. Here we go. We got
Uh,
oh. Does that make sense? Kiko, does that make sense? Sorry.
yeah, would it be possible to do a person dot each do and then putting the key value in the pipes and then asking it to print a specific key and value? Can you do it that way?
We could do an each loop. So for example, if I did person dot each do key value and
Exactly.
and then if I do p key p value, so this is gonna work. It is gonna print it out. But then the weird thing is now we still need to go in another level. We would still need to go in another level to grab that. And so that
You can't do the P, then it would be hashtag um value colon that you don't want to use that one. Here, let me send it over.
I think I know what you're trying to say. Are you saying p value colon
Hash.
value? Is that
Yeah,
what,
that one.
so
Yeah.
this right here is going to do the exact same thing as this. It's just going to put the string value.
Value in front. Okay.
Yeah, and to show you. So it does the exact same thing. However, we're just putting the word value in front of it. So that's why that isn't necessarily the solution because I want only this email. So, but with this being said, okay, so we just did that. I want you to help me to get the phone. How can I print out the phone number? We just saw it. We walked through it together. What do you think? Chico?
I thought you were asking the whole class. My bad.
Just as a follow-up for you. How
Okay.
can I
So
print out
it would be P person bracket uh you just want the phone, right?
correct?
The number itself, then colon phone.
Nope. You're close. I get what you're saying. But if we notice, phone is the same thing as email. It's within the contact hash.
Damn it, you just erased it. Oh,
Oh, good. I'm gonna give you guys an exercise on this one. Does anyone else have any ideas for this one? How could I print out the phone?
and we just did.
Any ideas? Anyone has any ideas to help me out?
Would it be P person bracket contact or call in contact,
Yeah,
and then another bracket call in phone?
let's try it out. Perfect. You got it. Solid. Thank you. All right. So with this being said, we can kind of see the way a nested hash works. It's pretty similar to a nested array, where, for example, in this grid example, if we wanted to get a specific index, we first go into the outer array. The reason why we do that is because we first need to have access to this array. And then from there, once we have access to this array, then we can be like, okay, cool, I want this one or this one or this one. So that would be 0, 1, 2 in the second place. The same idea down here. We first need to get access to this contact hash. And so to do that, we do person colon contact. And now once we have that, now we can go in another level to grab the phone or the email or whatever it may be within here. Does this idea make sense with everybody? Yes, Junior.
Yeah, so I guess I'm switching the gears between arrays and hashes. I guess sometimes I kind of mix it up, right? Because we're going from indexes to keys, right?
Yeah, key value pairs.
Yeah, and I guess it's just kind of strange to make that switch, like, but I guess practice, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It'll.
no, exactly. And this is where, again, I highly recommend going back to the deliberate practice. Go bookmarks, deliberate practice. And if you go into here, you can go exercises. You can go basic, intermediate, advanced, whatever. And then there's arrays and hashes right here. And so we can see here, for example, create a hash to store a person's first name, last name, and hometown, and then print out that hash. And so we can see here's the hash, and it wants you to print it out. PP is another, PP stands for pretty print. And I'll show you guys that in a second. But basically the point I'm trying to make here is to get that repetition, I'd highly recommend going into these deliberate practice exercises and taking a look at it as you guys have time. Again, 10, 15 minutes a day. Cool. With that being said, let's go through a couple more examples. So I'm going to expand on this. So at the level of this, like the outer hash, I'm going to add another thing. So I'm going to go comma. And so we can see this is the same level as contact, age, and name. So that's why I like putting the array, the hashes like this, kind of adding them on different lines rather than putting this all in one line. And so for example, I can go address. And I'm going to go, and I'm going to create, this is going to be another hash. So in here, let's say I have like street, colon, and then let's say the value is 123 Main Street. And then I'm going to do a comma. Let's say city. Let's go with like Jotnya. I'm going to do a comma. And maybe we do zip code. And we're going to say it's 12345. And so now I want to see, can someone help me print out what street do I live at? How could I print that out?
Uh, puts
Mm-hmm.
person, uh, bracket, colon, address,
Mm-hmm.
and colon, or bracket, colon, street.
Got it. Solid. All right. Looks like you guys are getting a pretty solid understanding of it. And so I'm going to give an exercise for this. Here, I will share this first. Examples with nested hashes. And so the other thing I'll quickly note is reassigning data, adding new data, etc., is all exactly the same as if it was a regular hash. So for example, if I wanted to change the street, I'm going to delete the puts, and I'm going to go equals 321 North Main Street, or whatever it is that I want to make it. And if I do P person before, and I do it again after, and run it, we can see the first time, where is it at? See, this is why I wouldn't want to like these all to be on one line, because we can see how like kind of messy it gets. And so actually, to show you guys pretty print, so I'm gonna do PP. So pretty print, it'll kind of print out your hashes a little bit nicer. So we can see here's the first time it printed out, and here's the second time. So the first time it printed out before I changed the street, it's 123 Main. The next time it's 321 North Main. So we can see we're able to reassign what a value is the exact same way that we were doing if this was just a regular hash, or like not a nested hash, basically. And that goes the same with adding something. So for example, if I did person at, say, contact at, I'm going to say pager, which I've never even had one, equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't even know. I'm kind of assuming here. Let's say that that's my pager number. And so now I run this. So we can see the first time through, we do not have a pager for contact. The second time through, I added the pager. And so the point I'm trying to make here is that anything that we're doing with a regular hash, whether that's reassigning a value, creating new values, deleting values, whatever it may be, is exactly the same with nested hashes or nested data in general. It's just a matter of getting to the right place. That's what matters. If I changed this, and what I mean by that is, for example, if I did person pager equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, this is not the same as this. These are very different. And that's what I mean is it matters. We just have to get to the right place. If I comment this, sorry, if I comment that out and run this again, we can see now we added another pager. So this is at the same level as age, contact, address, and then pager. This isn't within the contact one because we're not putting it within the contact one. You have to explicitly tell it where to go. And so as long as we know where to go or tell it where to go, like we can kind of just do exactly the same thing. Does this make sense with everyone? Yes, Ron.
So if you were to uncomment the contact pager, will it add both, just in different locations?
What do you mean?
Or yeah, that one and then the one right after it, the person pager.
This one?
Yeah.
If I do both of them. Okay, okay. Yeah, let's try it out. Let's see. I'm gonna do this. And so we see the first time through, and actually, yeah, the first time through we see neither of them. The second time through, we see the pager here within contact, and we see it here at like the outermost level as well. It did create both. The reason it created
Okay.
is because technically this and this are completely different. It's not like we're reassigning it. If we were reassigning it, we'd have to go exactly to that exact same spot. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Solid question. Other questions, comments about this? Yes. Yes, Junior.
I noticed that when you create the key, like the zip code, um, does it have to be like no spaces when you create keys? Or
Within
okay,
everything that we're doing, there cannot be spaces unless we're using a string.
okay,
If we're using a
all right.
string, we can use any characters we want. If we're using anything else, what's it called? Keys, variable names, anything, we're never going to put a space. If I wanted to do something like that, I would do the underscore. Because we're in Ruby and we're using camel case versus other languages use snake case, for example, like I shared with you guys before. Yeah, great question. Any other questions, comments about this? All right, cool. So let me go ahead and give you guys an example, and I will even share this code with you guys as well. Let me share. I'll share this at the bottom. So yeah, one thing that I use, a little kind of trick for hashes as they get really complex, is to use PP for pretty print versus just using regular print. If I was to change this to just P and run this again, we can see like it kind of just puts them all in one line. It's just like this is getting really messy and it's only 2 layers, let alone imagine when there's like 4, 5 or anything like that. Versus with this, obviously there's still a lot going on, but we can clearly see that this is the outer layer and then these two right here are in the inner layer. Those are the nested ones. And so I'd recommend using PP versus puts or regular P. All right, cool. So there's the example. Let me go ahead and give you guys an exercise. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys this nested hash. Use. All right, cool. So basically, you're going to use the nested hash representing a student with nested information from below. And you're basically going to access and print specific nested values. Actually, I'm going to change this a little bit. Let me delete this line because I already created it. And then from there, I want you to reassign what the name is. After that, I want you to delete the phone. And then I want you to add a pager number to the contact nested hash, not the overall student hash. All right, cool. So you guys exercise, use the nested hash representing a student with nested information from below. And I want you to access and print the specific nested values. So the first thing, just be able to just print them out. I want you to make sure that you know how to print out the name or 90, whatever it is, etc. And then from there, I want you to reassign what the name is, change it to be your name. And then from there, I want you to delete the phone. So it should no longer print out phone. And then finally, I want you to add a pager number to the contact nested hash, not the overall student hash. So we're going to do this and not person at pager directly. Cool. All right, you guys are good to share your screen and try that out. Be right back. I'm gonna grab something real quick. Hey, Ron, you're super close with the delete. My recommendation, or my hint maybe, is that when basically you need to go to where it is that this exists, and then you can delete it. I don't know if that makes sense. Super close. Like you're like right there. So there's like one thing that you need to change here. So how do you like access data? Is it with, yep, exactly. Perfect. All right, go ahead and try this out now. Cool. You deleted it. Perfect. Great work, man. Hey, Junior, my hint to you, kind of similar to pretty much the exact same hint I gave Ron, is what you're gonna, or like what to put before the delete is basically you need to tell it where to go. Like, where does it find that phone? So go ahead and put it before. So you're gonna put student, and then you're gonna tell it where. Student at, for example, yep. I'm going to delete the period. Sorry, I feel like sorry, saying it. I don't know. It's a better way to explain it. Yeah, go ahead and delete the period, and then delete that period too. And so then I want you to do the delete in between contact and phone. And then you're going to change this to be parentheses instead of square brackets. And we'll walk through why. Yeah, so do dot delete right there. Yeah. So basically the way this works is you're telling it go to student at contact and then delete the phone. That's the way it kind of works. Yeah, solid. So the next thing that we're going to work on after this is we're going to work on looping through nested hashes. And so I'm going to go check Lana in a second, Lana and Kiko. But while I'm doing that, my challenge to you guys is figure out how you could do a nested hash here to print some data. It's not going to be super nice because the hash, yeah, I'd say go ahead, it's going to be your discovery thing. You're going to try some discovery to figure out how to do a nested each loop to loop through these hashes to print out all of the data. And while you're doing that, I'm going to just check them real quick and I'll be back. Record. Okay, let me share my screen. This one's going to be a little bit weird. Do this. Actually, let me just test something out first. Yeah. Okay. So we can do that. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. So I didn't the next thing that we were going to work through is kind of dealing with nested hashes, but and like it looping through them. The original example that I was originally going to have you guys work through was this nested hash where the data is better structured. Maybe not better structured is the right word. Is this one right here? Sorry. So this, but is all uniform. This hash is a lot easier to loop through because all of the data is like it's kind of they all have the same amount of data, maybe is a better way to phrase it. Versus with this one, we can see name and age are strings and integers. Like the values are strings and integers, but then contact and address they're both a nested hash. Whereas with this one, we can see that Alice, Bob, and Carol are the key, and all of them just have a nested hash. And so this is going to be a lot more straightforward to loop through rather than this one because all of the data is the same. But we can loop through this. There is a way we can do it. And to show you guys that real quick, before we do this simpler example, because I already asked you guys to do it, here I did this. So if I run this, so we can see I'm doing person.each value do v, and I'm basically getting the value of it, and I'm checking, this is a whatever more complex way to do it in a sense. And so basically I'm checking, is the value of each index a hash? If it's a hash, then that's where I want to basically do v.each, like whatever value.each do, whatever, and so on and so forth. If it's not a hash, I cannot do an each loop on it. And what I mean by that is if I try to do, I'll get this error. We do person.each do, I go key value, and I do value.each do, and then I go like inner key, inner value. And then I try to do p inner key, p inner value. So if I try to do this, I'm going to get an error, and it's going to say that I cannot do an each loop on a string. The reason it's going to say that, and actually let's just see it happen. Cool. I cannot do an each loop on a string. And the reason it's saying that is because the first key value pair has a string. I cannot do an each loop there. So the trick, the kind of little hacky solution to do this is basically instead of explicitly being like, hey, grab each key value pair and then from there loop through the next key value pair, whatever. The thing is we need to check, is this a hash? Is this a hash? No. Is this a hash? No. Is this a hash? Yes. Okay, cool. Now do the each loop. Is this a hash? Yes. Okay, cool. Do the each loop again. And so that's what this loop is doing. No, I'm sorry, this loop right here is doing, is it's checking the value first, and then it's like, okay, cool. Is that a hash? Yes. All right, do the loop. If it's not a hash, don't do it. Does that make sense with you guys? All right, cool. And I'll share this with you guys. But this is kind of a more, it was unnecessarily kind of you're never gonna really have to do this. I don't think I've ever had to do something like this, to be honest with you guys. Solution for solution. And I'll share the hash that that's for. That's for this one. All right, cool. So now to kind of do the actual example it is that I wanted to share with you guys. So this one, which is going to be a lot more straightforward. Let me comment all this out. Okay, students. So this is going to be as straightforward as you guys were thinking. I saw a lot of you guys' solutions already, what you guys are trying to do. And this is going to be exactly what you're thinking. So where I can go students dot each do, and I'm going to go key value end, and let's go ahead and print out the key, and let's print out the value. And then after that, for readability, I'm just going to put a line. If I run this, we see Alice, math, whatever, Bob, math, science, Carol, math, science. And so, okay, cool. So we know that the value is a hash. It's always a hash. And that's the thing to note though, is it's always a hash. We're not worried about that other example where is it a string? Is it an integer? Whatever. It's always a hash. Because we know it's always a hash, now I can comment this out and we can do value dot each do. And then we're going to go like inner key, inner value, end, and let's go p inner key, p inner value. Let's run this. Perfect. So we're getting what we wanted to say. Math is 90, science 95. Math is 85, science is 80. Math is 92, science is 88, etc. So this is kind of what you guys were all thinking, and you guys were all on the right track. That example again, it was kind of like unnecessarily kind of complex for this first time. So this is more of, does this make more sense to you guys, or is this kind of like, does this make sense to you guys? All right, cool. So yeah, so the key thing here to note is that all of the key value pairs are all the same data types. If it's a different data type, then that's where it's going to mess us up because we can only do in each a dot each, like this technically this is a function, whatever, each loop, we can only do this on specific data types. It has to be an array or it has to be a hash. We cannot do it on a string, even though technically a string is an array. Well, we cannot do it on a string. We cannot do it on an integer. We cannot do it on a Boolean. We cannot do it on a symbol. It has to be an array or a hash. So that's why if you end up having data that isn't as nicely structured, you're going to have to either restructure it somehow, or you're going to have to do some sort of condition to check what type of data type is it before you do it. Kind of different workarounds. There's a bunch of different workarounds you guys could do, but this is to me the one that I thought of first. Questions about this? All right, cool. Okay, so with that being said, I'm not going to share this solution, but I want you guys to do an each loop over this. Do a nested each loop to figure out how you can get this to display properly. Or get this display, for example, 90, 95, 85, 80, 92, 88, whatever. All right, cool. You guys are good to share your screen and try that out. Hey, Ron, you're really close. You're actually really, really close. So I think what I want you to take a look at is the output down here. We can see Alice and then the array, or I mean the hash, Bob and then his hash, Carol and her hash. And so with that being said, this value that you were printing out is this. So it's a hash. So with that being said, how can you loop through this hash, these hashes technically, to print out 90, 95, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So you have access to it because that's going to be value. So now how do you use that value, which ultimately is this, in order to print that, in order to loop through and print that out? That's kind of my whatever prompt to you to help you out. Perfect. Solid. Also, Adrian, I like how you use different like variable names, name, subject, subject score. I think the one thing that I'd change is instead of reusing that word subject in here, since you use it twice, but other than just to make it clearer that like this subject and this subject are different. But other than that, I think it's solid. I actually like that you're using different names.
Sorry, Leon, is this how
Yeah.
it's supposed to look?
You're super close. Yeah, I mean, ultimately that kind of is. I wasn't really explicit with what the output I want. So technically, yeah, that is right. The one thing though that I'd recommend is so dot each do. This is what we use, or dot each do with one kind of variable within the pipes. This is the syntax we use for arrays. And so that's why you're receiving kind of like an array of math, 90, science, whatever. And so what I'm going to recommend is because we know that these are hashes that you're looping through, and we know that because we can see it down here, that's what value is. I would recommend using a key value pair here. And then from there, you'll have access to math by itself and then 90, and science by itself and then 95 by itself, etc. Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me give it a go.
Yeah, try it out.
Sorry, Leon, how about now? Does it still look kind of off?
No, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. So obviously to me, it looks very similar. Obviously, these two, because of the way you structured it, it looks really similar. But the one thing I want to note is that now you have access to just the key, which is subject, and then just the value, which is score. So theoretically, you could use only one of them, or you could manipulate them however it is that you want. Whereas with this example above, where you did just subject or whatever it was, just score or whatever it was, you didn't have access to one or the other. You kind of have them both in this array. Here you have access to each individually. Over here you don't. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Solid. Solid work. All right. All right, cool. You guys are good to stop sharing your screen. And we're going to go through one more thing with kind of nested arrays and hashes before we start to kind of, I guess, wrap it up and then go through other things. Wrap it up with this stuff. Wait, hold up. I want to do this. Where is this? We'll do that. We'll do that later. Yeah, we'll do this one. Okay. So if you guys remember yesterday, we briefly, towards the ending of class, we went over kind of what real world data looks like in the sense that a lot of times, if you have a lot of data, it's going to be an array. The outer is going to be an array, and then it's going to have a nested hash or hashes within it. And so a lot of times that's the way it's going to be structured. And so now that's what we're going to go through. So for example, let's go ahead and I'm going to grab this right here. Let's do this. So this is how it might look in the real world, where we have a list of products. Each individual product is going to have its own hash. It's going to have a name. It's going to have a price. And then maybe it has some tags. These tags could be like categories or whatever. And so the tags, or maybe the categories, however you want to think of it, for example, for this one is like electronics and computers, education, literature, et cetera, et cetera. And so the point I'm trying to make is this is the way that real kind of, a lot of times data in the real world is going to be structured, but it's the exact same thing. It's going to be the exact same thing to access the data, to loop through the data, or anything like that. So with that being said, real quick, how could I print out, or actually, I'm going to task this to you guys. I'm going to give you guys an exercise to mess with it because I know you guys can do it. Um, it'll be, uh, I don't know, give me something like that. All right, cool. Let me just wrap this there. And finally, bonus. Or it doesn't need to be nested. Yeah. For example, I want it to say this. All right, cool. So this is you guys' exercise. I want, based on this products, it's technically a nested, it has nested arrays and hashes in here. So based on this products variable or this array of products, I want you to print out computers. So figure out how can you get it to just print out computers. The other thing I want you to do is update the price for the book to be 50. So I want this price to be 50. I want you to delete the entire coffee mug. So delete this entire thing. And then I want you to add a new tag for laptop called device. So this is an array, and I want you to figure out how do you put another element or another tag in here, basically. How are you going to put something else in there? And then the bonus is using each loop to print out all the data nicely. For example, like this. This is roughly what it should, roughly a way that it should look. You can make it look however you want, but something like this, basically. Cool. Does that work with everybody? Solid, solid. All right. You guys are good to share your screen and try that out. I'll give you guys a little bit of time on this, and I'm going to go check Lana and Kiko. My bad, Junior. Didn't mean to cut you off there with that.
No, no, no. I I think this is as far as I'm able to go. I wasn't able to separate the tags,
Mm-hmm.
the array, but I was able to kind of print it out. But
No, that
I
looks
was trying I was trying to mess around even over here. I was trying to do some if stuff and I just got lost with it.
no worries,
I was,
no
all
worries.
right.
Here, so let's walk through this together. Go ahead and stop sharing your screen. No, it looks solid, honestly. It's together and we can start to wrap up. Okay. So I gave you guys this. And the task is I want you to do these things right here. So let's walk through each of these one by one. First thing I wanted to do was print out computers. So to print out computers, if I'm not sure what it looks like, I'm just going to print out products. Why don't we just do that? Cool. Products is this entire thing, but specifically, I'm looking at this first character. That's square brackets. That means this is an array. So I know that computers is in the first index. So technically, it's index 0. So let's go and do that. Cool. Now I'm within the first index. All right, cool. This now I can see the first thing is this is a hash because I see the curly brackets. So specifically, computers seems like it's in tags. So let's go ahead and do tags. Tags, and I'm going to do it this way because I know it's a hash. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, cool. Now we're in another level, and now I can see this. This is an array. I can see that because I can see square brackets. So I want computers. That's going to be index 1. Run that. Perfect. There's computers. So that's how I can print out computers and comment that out. Update the price for the book to be 50. So I'm going to go PP products, and I'm going to do that twice. That way you can see the before and after. And so it says update the price of the book to be 50. Kind of similar to this. I would slowly walk through it, but just because I know you guys all were able to do it. And so let's go and do products. And so I know, again, this is a hash. So I'm going to go at 1 because I know it's the first index or index 1 technically. And then from there, let's see, I want the price. So the price, this is going to be a hash. So I'm going to go price equals 50. Let's go ahead and run this. Cool. The first time through right here, we can see the price is 20. The second time through right here, we can see the price is 50. Perfect. All right, cool. The next thing, delete the entire coffee mug. There's different ways we could do this. One way we could do it is like this. We can go, I'm gonna do this PP products again. Products, PP products. And so luckily it's the last one in the array. And so we can go products dot pop, and that should delete the last object or the last index in this array. Let's go ahead and run this. Perfect. The first time through, we can see there's 3. The second time through, we can see there's only 2. Got you. Cool. So we're able to delete the entire coffee mug. Finally, we want to add a new tag for laptop. We want to add device. So we know that right there. So we know that this right here should get us to the tags. And just to make sure, let's go ahead and cool. I can see there are the tags. And just to make sure, I'm going to print out the tags before and after because in between here, I'm going to go products at 0 at tags. And I'm going to do dot push because I'm going to do dot push because I know this is an array. So we can do dot push, or I could do the shovel operator. Either or, whatever your preference is. But specifically, we want to push in device and run this. Perfect. We can see the first time through, it's electronics and computers. Second time through, we have device because we pushed it in. Any questions on this so far? Yes, Ron.
What's the other option for deleting the what is it? The last hash?
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely different ways we could do it, but another thing we could do, let's do this. The one that comes out the top, the first one that comes to the top of my head is products.delete, and then I'm gonna pass in this entire thing. And I think this should work. Yeah, so this works. So the first time through, we have all three. Second time through, we didn't. And so doing what I did there, this obviously isn't ideal. There's definitely nicer solutions for this. That's why the dot pop's nice. But there's also one where you can specify the index of it. But we can, this is the solution that I've showed you guys before in that, like, let's say, for example, here, let me comment out products first. I'm gonna do so technically this was an array. So I'm gonna do like numbers equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I wanted to delete 3, I can do p numbers and I'm do it twice. I can do numbers dot delete 5. If I do this, we can see, I mean delete 3. I meant to do 3. We can see the first time through it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The second time through it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Or it's 1, 2, 4, 5. And so basically, if you tell it, pass in exactly what it is you're trying to delete for that index, it'll delete it. In that same sense, I just pass in the entire hash, technically, because that entire hash is this entire index. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was messing up because I just put two. So it was what you call it?
Yeah, it's like what is
Products dot delete two.
yeah.
Yeah, and then it's not an array, so
I got you. And there's
and then
definitely
for my
go ahead.
oh yeah. For the what you call it, pushing in device.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it a different way. I did product zero or bracket zero, tags, and then brackets two.
You did this?
Yeah,
Brackets 2.
because there's only two indexes in there, so I just kind of like just added. It's just zero and one, right? So I just kind of put in two equals device.
Did this work for you?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's working the right way or two equals device.
Oh, oh, I was thinking just like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, this works the same way that I guess this I actually didn't even I haven't messed with it this way. I always use the dot push or whatever. But I guess in the same way that we can do this for a hash, we could do this for an array. That's cool. Learn something new. I didn't even know that. Really cool. Yeah, so this works too. So I mean,
Okay,
I
so that's okay. That won't break any other functions or anything, right? I mean, so far it didn't.
to my understanding, no. I'd say so one thing that
Okay.
you'll find within programming is that there are so many different ways to get the same result. And so whether or not you do it this way or you do this way, or another way that you could do it is doing this. If I do this, 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 and this are all the exact same thing, ultimately. It's kind of what is your preference?
Okay.
I like these two better than this one, just because what if I don't know the index? Like what if it's like an unknown amount length of the array? This specific
Right.
example, it's like I want to put in index 2. What if it was needed to go to index 3 or index 100 or something like that? So it works, but my recommendation is to use one of these because it's more dynamic in the sense that it doesn't matter what index it was going to. It's just going to put it at the end. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, cool. Solid. But yeah, that's really cool. I actually didn't even know you could do this. That's really cool. You taught me something new. All right. Okay. Any other questions about any of this stuff? All right. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't mind having this. All right, cool. So the final thing was the bonus. Use an each loop to print out all of these nicely. So let's go ahead and do this together. One thing to note here is that I specifically didn't put nested each loop on purpose. That's one thing to note. I originally was typing out nested each loop, and then when I was thinking of the solution, I deleted it on purpose because I wanted to note that I'm not recommending to do a nested each loop. Not to say that you can't, but I think even Junior, you mentioned briefly that like you were trying to do these nested each loops and you're running into some errors. And that's because I think you're going to be running into some similar things where we had to do this like weird thing where you have to check what type of data type it is. And so that's where I don't recommend doing a nested each loop for this. Okay, so let's go and do this together. So let's go products dot each do, and I know this is an array, so I'm not doing a key value pair. I'm going to do like product end, and then let's just go p product. Let's just print out what a product is. Cool. I can see a product is just simply, it's like the hash, it's a hash basically. This product is whatever the product's hash is, basically, that time through the loop. And so one thing that I'm gonna show you that I haven't explicitly shown you guys yet is that the same way outside of the loop, we can do something like this. We can do that in here as well. And so what I mean by that is because I know a product is this, if I wanted to print out the tags, I could do product at tags. And if I run this, we can see it's only printing out the tags now. I haven't explicitly shown you guys kind of putting this concept of printing stuff out inside an each loop yet, but that's something that you guys can do. I'm sharing with you, I guess I'm sharing it now. And so with that being said, using this idea, this is the reason why I don't recommend, I didn't put nested each loop because you don't need to. Because most of the data isn't nested, like within another, like we don't have to go through that again. We can just do more of things like this. So for example, let's go ahead and do like puts, because puts prints out stuff nicer. I can do like product, hashtag. I can interpolate product colon name. And so this should give me the name for all the products, laptop, book, coffee, etc. And even to make it a little bit nicer, I'm going to put a bunch of lines. Cool. We can see that there's the product, each product. And so I can do the same exact thing, but for the price and for the tags. So let me go and do the price, price, price. And even if I really wanted to, I can maybe put a dollar sign there, run it again. Cool. Now we can see the price is $1,000. The price is 20 bucks. The price is 10. So now here's where kind of it's going to get a little bit, it's not going to be as straightforward to do the tags, but it's going to be pretty similar. So I'm going to go tags, and then I'm going to go interpolate it, product, colon tags. Let's just do this first. So this works. However, this isn't like, we can still make this nicer. And so we can do a function called join. So dot join. And so the way dot join works is we're telling it, hey, join these two together wherever there's a comma, basically put those into one string. Instead of it being two strings or whatever, two or three or five or whatever, put them all together and put like a space. And so now if we run this, we can see electronics, computer, education, education, literature, etc. So that's the way dot join works. And I'm not expecting you guys to understand dot join right away, but there's like different methods like these that are kind of nice to have. Like this isn't something that I would want you guys to memorize, but I want you guys to know that this is there, more or less. Because then you can be like, oh man, Leon showed me this method. Like, and so then now he's like, he showed me this method where I can combine two things in an array. So this is where if I was you guys and I was like, I want to figure what that was, and you don't know, I would go to Google or ChatGPT or something and be like, Okay, Ruby method to combine strings in an array. Let's see what it says. Using the join. This is exactly what I wanted you guys to use. This is exactly what I'm using. And I can see show more. Perfect. So we see array1 equals hello world. It's an array. If I do combine strings equals array1 dot join, that outputs hello world like that. That's exactly what we wanted. And then from there, if we wanted to, with the space as a separator. So dot join, and basically we just put in parentheses quotes with a space. So now it outputs like that. And so to follow that exact example, if I deleted this comma, ran it again, now we can see there's no commas. But there's a space because we told it to put a space. But we want them to be separated by a comma because that makes more sense. And so this is more of what I want you guys to understand. I'm not expecting you guys to memorize dot join and that other dot is a or whatever, all this kind of weird methods. But what I do want you guys to understand is I understand that I understand the general concept. And if I need to figure something out, I can look it up. If you understand the concepts, you can then look it up and do the more complex things later and understand that and kind of get to know it. I don't want anyone to spend too much time trying to be like, oh yeah, I remember the join, the whatever, this one, that one, this one. Like, I'm not expecting you guys to memorize all these. I didn't memorize all these. If I need a specific method, I'm going to look it up and then go from there. Does that make sense? All right, cool. Questions, comments about this? All right, solid. Okay, cool. Let me share this solution with you guys. And I'll share it from the bottom actually, because technically all of these are the solutions. Cool. Yeah, so we have the products, we have the bonus right here. This was the bonus one. I'll put that. That was the bonus. This is how to do print computers, how to update the price for the book, how to delete the entire coffee mug, and how to add a new tag. And we show multiple solutions for this one and for this one. That's what I'll note there. All right, cool. Cool. All right. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to share. I think we can start go ahead and start wrapping up already. And so let's see, stop sharing my screen. And so real quick, I wanted to share that and Lana put actually maybe I'll share my screen actually one more time. Sorry. Lana is gonna be doing office hours on Saturdays, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, on Saturdays. So it's going to be on Saturdays starting August 23rd, which is this Saturday from 3 to 4. And so any questions, whether or not that's on maybe some exercise that we did, a concept, whatever, just any general questions about the class or anything like that, feel free. You can go on Saturday and you're going to be using the exact same link. So to join, you can be general bookmarks and you can use the class Zoom link. Exact same link. And so, yeah, so I'd say take advantage of it. It's something that is there to help you guys out. And as she put in this message, like if this time doesn't work for you, let her know, let me know, and we'll kind of work something out to figure it out. But yeah, I definitely recommend taking advantage of this. Highly recommend. Together with the other thing that I'd recommend outside of this is just in general, you do the deliberate practice. The deliberate practice is what's going to get you really comfortable with manipulating data, with creating functions, all those different things that we're doing. There's deliberate practice for it. And there's basic ones, intermediate ones, and advanced ones. So let's say you go to you're doing it. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. Let's say you're doing it and I'm like, oh man, this is like a little bit too easy. I'm not being challenged. Okay, cool. Don't do the basic ones. Do the intermediate or do the advanced ones. And you can see, okay, cool. This one's with nested conditionals. So this says write a program, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's going to be a more complicated version of it. And so we can see here's like the nested conditional. And so if you want a more complex example, by all means, feel free. I wanted to do my best, or we wanted to do our best to give you as many examples as you want. And so there's a bunch of examples for basic things. As things get easier, you can do intermediate stuff. And as you feel even easier with that, go and do the advanced ones. And so I'd really, really, really highly recommend taking advantage of that, together with taking advantage of the office hours. I guess in the last thing, I guess with regards to this stuff, is The other thing I just wanted to say as a reminder is don't be afraid to ask questions. There's genuinely no dumb questions. To me, a dumb question is a question that you don't ask. That to me is a dumb question. And I want to say that because it's like, let's say you don't really understand something. Usually the way class starts is we go through a concept and then we start with it simply, and then we slowly make it more complex, building upon the complexity. So if you didn't ask a question in the beginning of the class because you didn't understand something, we're only going to go through more complex things next. So then you're going to have that much of a harder time. So if we just figured it out right then and there in the beginning, then from there it's going to be easier for you in the future. And if you don't, and also the other thing is if you don't ask it, maybe your other classmates might have that question now or in the future. So you're just helping them out too, helping everyone. And so genuinely do not be afraid to ask questions. There's no dumb questions. If you didn't want to speak out loud, feel free, shoot me a message in Slack, shoot me a message on WhatsApp, whatever it is, even to Lana, and we'll kind of get back to you as soon as we can. Cool. Sorry, my little rant about that stuff. Questions, comments about anything I went through before I let you guys go? All right, cool. Lana, did I miss anything?
Not or well for the office hours, yeah. If you plan on coming by, just you can message in the office hours chat, or you can message me like directly to say like, hey, I plan to come. And yeah, if you cannot make the 3 to 4, we can definitely work around that. I literally have so much time. I can help you. If you have any questions, we don't even have to stay like the full hour. You can just like if you have a quick question, you can come ask me. Yeah, always available.
Solid. Thank you very much, Lana. Cool. On that note, thank you guys. Sorry we went a little bit past the time today, but thank you guys for being here. You guys have a great night. You're killing it, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
You guys.
So, guys, be safe. Good night.
Shoot. Sorry, Leon, I have a question.
Yeah, feel free.
Um, how did that, did you meet with DMR today? How did it go?